Hey guys, how's it going? It's Baggins here, and today I wanted to provide you guys with another update video for the Void Gauntlet, the life staff, my armor, my masteries, and all of that good stuff. But first, before we jump into that, a word from today's sponsor. ArcheAge is a very popular MMO developed by XL Games and now published by Kakao Games. ArcheAge features a vast open sandbox environment offering deep customization of skills and experiences set across the mystical world of Erenor. From trading on the high seas, tending a humble farm, being an adventurous rogue, and much, much more, each player's experience is wholly unique. Starting on November 19th, you guys will be able to transfer your accounts over and will receive the Brilliant Haram Guardian set in-game as a reward for doing so. New servers are going to be opening up for ArcheAge and ArcheAge Unchained on December 2nd. So if you guys are interested, make sure to check the link in the description down below. And thank you very much to ArcheAge for sponsoring this video. Okay, so the Void Gauntlet weapon has been out for about 2 weeks now, maybe a little bit more or a little bit less. I've honestly kind of lost track of time. But I know that you guys have found it useful and helpful in the past when I've given you guys a sort of step-by-step and a like weapon-by-weapon, stat-by-stat look at what I'm currently running. So I thought that's what we'd do again today. So as always, guys, if you do find these sort of videos useful, make sure you go ahead and click the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. But first and foremost, let's get into my gear. What am I wearing these days and why? We are currently in a medium load setup, so I'm wearing a heavy helmet, a heavy chest, medium gloves, light legs, and medium boots. So this keeps me just under the heavy threshold. A lot of people ask me why no heavy these days, Baggins. In the past, you ran heavy quite a lot. For me, I feel like the meta is very much, and this is coming from a PvP standpoint, it's very much Warhammer and Great Axe right now, and I do feel like having the extra dodge to get out of the Warhammer stuns does help quite a lot. And then on top of that, there was a sizable nerf to healing in the recent 1.1 patch when they introduced the Void Gauntlet. They nerfed healing by about 20%, but you can get some of that healing back by wearing medium armor and even more in light armor. So we now get a 15% to bonus healing in medium armor and a 30% bonus healing in light. Now, it's not quite what you would imagine. I know 15% sounds like a lot, and so does 30. It's actually your base healing number rather than your end healing number, which is much more exciting if it was that second one. So yeah, the healing buff that you get doesn't end up being that great, but it's still enough that I feel like it's noticeable, and I just really appreciate having the triple dodge. I'm also still very, very tanky. I'm sitting at 11,620 HP right now, and I still have pretty good damage resistances with what I get from the medium armor anyway. Going into my stats real quick, in case people are curious on those. We're currently sitting at 260 focus right now, 152 constitution, and I do have 38 intelligence, but a lot of this is just coming from my Void Gauntlet weapon. I've thought about dropping down a little bit into like a, sort of the 100 constitution range and going for like a 300 focus plus build, and indeed that might happen at some point, but right now I am enjoying what I'm currently rocking. I feel like my heals are strong, my survivability is strong, and that's like the most important things for me as a healer. However, I do think if you wanted to go to the heavy armor line, you could just dump more points into focus and take away a bit of constitution, and you'll still find yourself being in a pretty good spot because you're wearing heavy armor, so you've got a lot of resistances and you don't need that much constitution as a result. However, the flip side of like, what if I want to wear light armor, Baggins? Because I know a bunch of people are curious about light armor. I personally wouldn't recommend it. I feel like you are very susceptible to being one-shot, but if you were going to go for light armor, I guess also at least getting for 150 points into constitution, either that or you've just got to be incredibly good with the dodges and staying away from the enemy. Recently, I have pushed my armoring to 200, so I'm looking to make a full heavy set, a medium set, and a light set, and sort of compare all of them and see which playstyle I like the most. So if you guys want to see that video, like my recommendations based on each one, trying each set, I'll have a link to that up in the top right, but make sure you are subscribed if you want to see that one. So going back to the specifics of my gear, on the helmet right now, we have a crafted helmet here, the Dryad God Helm with 24 constitution. Also, it's got refreshing to reduce cooldowns, and it has corruption resistance, which is not ideal. The other helmet that I do have in my bag here waiting to be used is this one. It's got constitution and focus, lower gear score, but it does have mending protection on. Now, mending protection, as you can see there, it is a pretty nice perk if it was working. As far as I can tell right now, mending protection doesn't actually work, but in the event that they fix this perk and make it work, I'll probably be swapping back to this helmet here, as a 36% increase to how much you heal when you heal somebody with Aura protection if they're below 50% is a very significant increase in healing. So until that is actually working, I'm just going for my high gear score, full constitution helmet here. On the chest piece, we are rocking a Constitution Focus crafted chest piece. It's got the Nullifying Oblivion perk on it. Now, I feel like this is a mandatory perk if you are going to be bringing the Void Gauntlet and you're interested in PvP. Even in PvE, it does have some fringe uses, but in PvP, it's really, really strong. Right now, if you run up to somebody, let's say this guy over here is standing in Sacred Ground, and he's got Beacon on him, and maybe has a bunch of other, like, sort of buffs. If we drop the Oblivion down, it completely negates everything. Like, it just strips all of the buffs away from him. So all of these buffs that I had on my hotbar would just be removed with Nullifying Oblivion, which is really, really, really strong in PvP. It does come with the disadvantage that you have to stand close to the enemy, but I think Oblivion just in general, even without this perk, is a really, really good ability because if we take a look at the weapon mastery real quick, and I'll go further into this, it provides a 20% damage buff to everybody that stands in the area as well. So yeah, Oblivion, just a very strong ability. I used it in pretty much all of my Void Gauntlet builds, and we do have the Nullifying Oblivion to complement that. Going over to the gloves, I've got some medium gloves, again, with a lot more constitution on them. Pretty much all of my constitution comes from my armor, as you guys will see soon enough. The gloves have Fortifying Sacred Ground on. We talked about this in a previous video, but Fortifying Sacred Ground is a no-brainer. Sacred Ground is one of our best heals, and you can basically add the Orb of Protection Fortify effect to your Sacred Ground. It's all around good. Just go for it every time. On my legs, we have Putrefying Scream, as well as Intelligence and Focus. Now, the Intelligence isn't ideal from here. I'd rather have Constitution and Focus, but these are the bind on pickup legs that you can craft with armoring, so maybe one day we'll look to replace these with some full Focus, some full Constitution, or some Constitution Focus legs, as I don't really care too much about getting Intelligence in my build. But Putrefying Scream, another one of the abilities that you'll see I have in my hotbar. Again, this is very much PvP orientated, but it shuts down enemy healers like just no one's business. It's super, super strong. If you guys didn't read what the ability does. On successful hit, Petrifying Scream inflicts disease, reducing target's healing by 50% for 10 seconds. And then on top of that, the Scream itself roots them in place. Every enemy that you hit with the Scream increases your damage resistance. You get a 10% fortify for every enemy you hit, going up to 3, so it can be a 30% fortify, which is really, really strong. If you're in a sort of combat on the point in Outpost Rush, or maybe in War, and there's a bunch of enemies grouped up on the point, you can hit 3 of them, get yourself a 30% damage reduction for 10 seconds, and then on top of that, you also reduce everybody's healing and root them in place, so very powerful. Finally, going over to the boots, we've got Revitalizing Beacon on my boots, and I have 25 Constitution, and they're medium. These boots are pretty damn good. I don't really know if I could find anything better. Maybe if Vigor and Ancient Ward were replaced with, like, Resilience and Refreshing, that would probably make them better. But I do think it is going to be a while until I find something better than these boots. And the Revitalizing Beacon perk, very, very powerful to increase the amount of healing you can do to yourself by a significant margin. So yeah, just great boots. I highly recommend you get Revitalizing Beacon on a piece of gear. Previously, I thought Revitalizing Beacon would also increase your healing on other targets. You might have seen that in a previous video. It turns out, I think what was happening with that is when I would cast Revitalizing Beacon, I would get this buff here, healing efficiency on self by healing efficiency on self by self and other sources increased. Yeah, so basically I heal myself for more. I thought it was allowing me to heal other people for more as well, but I think what was actually happening is it was proccing this buff here, which says if you have a buff, heal for 10% more. Now, previously I thought that the incoming self-healing, what is the name of this thing again? It's Sacred Protection. I thought that would count as a buff on myself, but apparently it doesn't. But maybe Revitalizing Beacon does, which would explain why I heal for more after I cast Beacon, because it adds a buff onto my hotbar. So I'll need to do a bit more testing on that. But Revitalizing Beacon is still very, very good for increasing your healing on yourself. Going over to other pieces of armor I have, I've got this necklace here. Again, really, really good necklace. A lot of constitution on it, which, you know, again, we could maybe swap it for some focus, but it's got divine and health on it, which just makes it so insane. It's why I've got such a big health bar here. And divine is basically like that Revitalizing Beacon effect, increases the amount I heal myself for. On the ring, we've got more Constitution, we've got Refreshing, and we've got Sacred, so just great stuff, like probably the best perks you want in the ring. It's a little low in gear score, but the perks are so great that it's, again, going to be a while until I'm able to replace this with something better. And then finally on my earrings, these are the ones that like maybe could do with changing the most, but they've got Refreshing on them, it's got Constitution and Focus. I think I would like to find the Mana Regen, or the Duplicating Toast, or the one that says when you drink a potion, you get some mana back, or when you drink a mana potion, you get some health back. That's a pretty nice perk as well, but generally not bad earrings. Moving over to the weapons, we've got the Master Void Mage's Gauntlet. Now this is a Void Gauntlet that you can craft at the Arcana Station, or you can have a friend craft. I honestly recommend that you do it if you are interested in playing Void Gauntlet with a healer. It gives you Blessed on it, which is really weird because Blessed is a life staff perk, but it is available on the Void Gauntlet for some reason. But I can confirm it does add a pretty significant amount of healing to your Orb of Decay, which is one of your main sources of healing with the Void Gauntlet. So we throw it out, we pop it back, and boom. And I missed the heal. So if we throw it out, and then we pop it back, there we go. Big heal, 1,536, and I have noticed that heal is significantly bigger when I wear a Void Gauntlet that has Blessed on as opposed to one without. So even though it is a life staff perk, it does seem to be working on the Void Gauntlet, and I do get a lot of benefit out of using it. On top of that, we have Enchanted. I don't actually really spend a whole lot of time attacking with the Void Gauntlet. I'll show you guys my PvE build that I use with the Void Gauntlet in a little bit, which does spend a bit more time attacking, and you will get more value out of Enchanted, but the Blessed is the main thing that you're looking for with a healer Void Gauntlet. And again, it's providing intelligence, which isn't ideal. I would prefer it was just all focus or focus constitution. And one day, I'm going to look to see if there is a Void Gauntlet out there that just has Blessed and focus on it, or Blessed, focus, constitution, something like that. But this is what we've been making do with for now. And like I say, you can just craft it at the Arcana station, so it's readily available. And then finally, my life staff, my Love and Joy. This thing is incredible. The only regret is that I haven't received it at Legendary yet, but I continue to do many Lazarus runs every single week, and one day we'll hopefully see it at Legendary. But it is just an absolute beast of a life staff with Blessed and Refreshing move on it and 29 focus. Just all around good. I put diamonds in both my weapons to increase the amount of healing I do when I'm at full health, and of course, in order to take advantage of that, just try and keep yourself at full health. One thing that you may have noticed is in my armor, I have all Slash Sword gems right now, and that is because just on our server in particular, it's Great Axes everywhere. It's just Great Axe Rush, Great Axe Wars, Great Axe PvP, Great Axe, Great Axe, Great Axe. So I just take the Slash Sword to deal with those axe uses. It's basically like the only thing I'm dying to these days. Muskets do hit pretty hard, and so do bows, but nowhere near as hard as the Great Axes. So until Great Axe gets a little bit of a nerf, I think I am sticking to the Moonstones. And in the jewelry, I can't replace these, but we do have some Onyx, and then we have one diamond over here as well. Okay, so jumping into the mastery for the Void Gauntlet, as I previously mentioned, we got Petrifying Scream, we've got Oblivion fully maxed out, and we also have Orb fully maxed out as well. I do think it is worth maxing out every single one of these abilities, as the bottom effect is really good on all of them. This is the Fortify that I talked about previously. This is, this I actually didn't mention, but it's pretty awesome. You can put down Oblivion on yourself, and then you can dodge, and you get 15 mana, or stamina, and then you dodge, and you get 15 stamina, and you dodge, and you get 15 stamina, and you dodge. It just allows you to keep dodging, like, all day, every day, with the 15 stamina per second for self and friendlies. Also, for friendlies, very nice as well. Worth noting that friendlies doesn't just mean people in your party, it means everybody that's allied with you, so very strong effect over there. And then we have, like, some sort of side stuff here that doesn't really matter too much, as you don't really spend a whole lot of time attacking with the Void Gauntlet in PvP, but it's, you know, it's nice to have that there as well. And we like to max out the Orb because we get the slow over here if they have a debuff, which is going to be most of the time, and the explosion on the Orb, like this heal that you get here is actually pretty significant if you can do it. The Orb is a bit of a clinky ability. I wish it moved out slower and came back slower. Sometimes it also just goes invisible when you throw it out, which is kind of a bit weird, but yeah, I do like the Orb ability a lot, and I think it's one of the best heals you're going to get with the Void Gauntlet. I have still opted to go for the Void Caller passive, even though it doesn't really proc very often. If I just move my camera out of the way so you guys can fully see it. If you are able to hit like multiple targets with the Petrifying Scream and multiple targets with the Orb of Decay, you can get this ability to proc, but it's not something that you're going to be doing super often in PvP. However, in PvE, I do like to respec, and instead we go for the Void Blade here. We fully max that out, we go for the Orb of Decay, and then we pick up the appropriate passives that I like on both instances. So Radiant Efficiency to reduce mana costs, because the Void Gauntlet is very mana hungry. I like to take Refreshing Harvest, which reduces cooldowns when I'm using the damage ability to get mana back. I like to take Mending Evasion, because it's just a nice little heal to weave in every now and again. And then we also take everything that gives us cooldowns. So cooldown reduction over here. And then we have Efficient Harvest here, which reduces the health strain when we're really low on mana. We don't hurt ourselves as much using the right-click ability. Again, just more things that give us cooldown, which I believe is that one, and that one, and that. So this would be my PvE build. And we would drop down sort of Beacon, Sacred Grounds. We'd put the Oblivion down that would roll the Orb out. In fact, let's just, let's burn a little bit as up. Let's do it for the YouTube video. So something like this in sort of a PvE scenario is I would throw out the Sacred Ground and the Beacon. I should dodge before I do the Sacred Ground. We throw out the Oblivion, that, and then we whip out the Void Gauntlet and we just start whacking them, you know, until we get the Void Collar passive to proc, and that pops a healing aura around us, also a damaging aura, and then at that point we can switch back to the life staff and keep doing life staff stuff. So that's my PvE build. In PvP, we're just using the Petrifying Scream to either lock down enemy healers or to keep Great Axe users off of us. We immediately follow that up with Oblivion in almost every instance, because that's going to strip away all the buffs from them and also increase damage and just help the target that you're either focusing or is focusing you to die faster. And then we just use the orb generally wherever we can to roll it through people and pop it on them to heal them where we can as well. You don't always need to pop the orb. Just having the orb like roll through you and roll back is a pretty like significant amount of health that you'll get. I can show you guys here a little bit. Let's take about sort of 4,000 damage or something, and then we throw the orb out and just go back through it. You'll see this heal that I get here is actually pretty significant. I don't know if it's going to full heal me. It's going to get close to it though. Yeah, we almost healed about, what, like 5,000 from that there? So very strong heal from the Orb of Decay. I do think if you're not using it as a healer, you're kind of missing out. And like I say, the Void Blade is a really good way to build stacks, but I wouldn't go for it in PvP, as I find it's just a little bit too risky to spend time just doing this when, you know, your teammates probably need a Light's Embrace or something else like that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Void Gauntlet, and that's my build with the Void Gauntlet. Quickly going back over to Life Staff, mostly the same as you've seen in many previous videos. The only other thing that I've changed here is previously we used to take Spirits United. This acted as another buff for our Light's Embrace. It was another 30% more on the Light's Embrace. And instead, we like avoided taking Glowing Focus. Previously, I just thought Glowing Focus is only really worth it if you take Arbor Protection. But it turns out Glowing Focus does have quite a few interactions with this build here. Namely, with Intensify, it actually increases the duration of Intensify on yourself by another 2 seconds, and it also increases the duration of Protector's Touch by another second as well. So Glowing Focus does actually give us quite a bit of value, and to show you what I mean by that, I'll just run out of town and we'll go and attack some stuff. So I can give you a few examples here. If we go ahead and attack this wolf, sorry, Mr. Wolf, we just got a 4-second Fortify, and we got, what was that? I didn't see the timer on the... It's 12 seconds on the Intensify. So Intensify, increasing our healing by 10% per heavy attack. That is 12 seconds. And we also get the 4 seconds of Fortification. And with our Bend Light, we get a 6-second duration on Bend Light. Now, if I go ahead and take the final point of Glowing Focus here, so it was 6 seconds, 5 seconds, and 12 seconds. Let me just double check those numbers. Yeah, 12 seconds, 4 seconds, and 6 seconds. So now if we go ahead and take Glowing Focus, instead the numbers we're going to see are 14 seconds on the Intensify, 4 seconds still on the Fortify, but on the Bend Light, we should be receiving a 7-second duration on Bend Light. So yeah, both of those, it does combine with the 200 focus buff that we have here, which says 20% duration on casted buffs. And it turns out actually having that Intensify not fall off as fast and having the Bend Light not fall off as fast, I think that is actually stronger than having your Light's Embrace have another buff on the target. But this is honestly going to come down to personal preference. I do think in a world where Arbor Protection actually receives the buff from Mending Protection, especially in wars, you want to be running Mending Protection much more often, and you want to be running Arbor Protection much more often, which means you definitely want to be running Glowing Focus, because, yeah, I don't think this buff is worth it at all if you're not using Light's Embrace. All right, well, I think that is the build update in a nutshell. This video is getting pretty long, and I don't want it to be like a, you know, a big 20-minute video of me just showing pieces of gear, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have any specific questions, anything you would like to see in future videos, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any burning questions you need an answer to right now, I'll put a link to the stream in the description down below. We are live almost every day over there, so feel free to hop in, ask a question. I try to answer as many questions as I can while I'm playing, especially if I'm just like chopping down some trees or something. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you go ahead and click the like button, subscribe for more, and as always, I'll see you guys all in the next one.